Hi students, I wanted to show you the next step of the glazing process. This is project number 2, and I created the design on one side, doing a lot of thumbnails to get it, and then I transferred it on half the 15 by 20 paper, then I flipped it with the tracing paper, used the yellow carbon, and then created this larger design that is a big version of my thumbnail. Also, I put tiny amount of pencil over the yellow because I had trouble seeing it. That's always an option. You want to not be able to barely see it, but you also have to be able to see it enough to be able to paint in it. You just don't want to have to erase it or have this heavy line. Alright, so before we do that, we're going to have to figure out the color system. That's also going to be a thumbnail that you post. You're going to be using an analogous color scheme, which are 3 side-by-side colors on the wheel. For example, purple, red, violet, and red. Those are analogous color schemes. Anything that are directly side-by-side, you can't skip any, they have to literally be almost touching on the wheel. The bottom of the wheel is generally cool in temperature, the top of the wheel is warm. Basically from red to green is the cutoff. Red operates as a warm, green as a cool, and everything else around that, moving down and up, also are cool. One side you're going to do cool analogous, one side you're going to do warm. You choose which. On one side, for example, you could do yellow, yellow, orange, orange. On the cool side you could do green, blue, green, blue, something to that effect. Now when we start to paint it in, we're going to be using even wash. So a lot of flat brush work like on the first project. And then when they overlap, they have to be completely dry overnight. So you have to strategize what you're going to fill in and what you're not. And then come back later and fill in the whole shapes. There's no blending, there's no streaky, there's no volume. You're leaving the back white. These are all even wash shapes. But picking the color scheme, I want to show you a way to do that so that you're not just winging it right off the bat. This will be posted. So I'm going to zoom in a little, and basically you have your design that you made initially on one side, and then you flipped it, and then you had it on the other side. So we're going to lower this just a little so that you can see that this is the big design that I just showed you that I made on this tracing paper. It can be any size, but this is the thumbnail to plan the color system. You can use your original drawing to do that and fill it in with colored pencil. You could even use the tracing paper version to fill it in. But I made it smaller only because I don't want to waste all my colored pencil. And I'm going to figure out now how to create 3 analogous hues on both sides, because something we're going to do is integrate the 2 color systems strategically in the middle using a couple or one big shape. So before I do that, I'm going to make sure I have this matching the design, so it has to be symmetrical. So you can either redraw it or use one of your smaller areas of paper that you made before. And I'm going to go ahead and use my carbon and quickly shift this over so I can see what I'm doing. So you want to fold this right down the middle. And when this is done, you're going to post this so that we can not only make sure that your analogous systems are actually analogous, but that you have the cool and the warm going on. So I'm going to take this and go over this so that it goes through. You can also do this with tracing paper. I'm going to use a pen so that it gets a lot of pressure on there as it goes through. If you sit outside or in a light area, this will be easier to do. This doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to really get a sense of the design and how these colors are going to work when you fill them with colored pencil, so that you can get a sense for what they're going to do later when we actually fill them in. I'm taking advantage of my yellow carbon paper again And you can do this on tracing if you're having trouble seeing through. But I want to make sure that they're symmetrical enough so that I can get a real clear idea of what I'm going to be doing in my larger picture. Make sure I get them all. And you know they all go through one another. That's pretty good. That's just enough, just so I can get it to look like this side matches the other. So I'm just going to fill this in now. So that it's symmetrical on both. Almost done. I think I got it. Yeah, all right, so I have my design. I lost you there for a minute. All right, so you can see it now. This is what I just did, basically. I took the design that I had on one side, I flipped it over, and I want to see what it's going to look like as a whole. Because as you know, it got much more interesting when I flipped it and made a mirror image. So I want to plan this based on my 3 analogous hues. I'm going to be leaving the background white. So I got to decide which analogous systems I'm going to use, warm and cool, and where am I going to let them overlap in the middle. I think I should probably use the big shapes first to make sure that I know what I'm doing. And you don't want to overlap one of the hues, because like green and red, they are different. Like green, you want to leave it on the cool, red on the warm. You don't want to have the same hue on either side. So let's say I'm going to do purple, red, violet, and violet. So this is just a quick thumbnail. I'm going to use my darker purple over here. Anytime you're using color in a design, you're planning the balance. So if I put this here, I have to put this somewhere else. I want to create movement. How about this little one? And how about this? Perfect. Then I'm going to do my red violet. Try to get this closer. Better. All right, so I have my purple, my, I could even fill this stronger, but since it's going to be a light saturation, and this is a textural kind of surface, I'm not going to get it smooth, but I can see. Purple, purple, purple. Okay, now where do I want my red violet? I'm going to put, no, red can't be because that's my warm. So I'm going to do purple, blue violet, and red violet. So it's helpful to have these out. And since you don't have all these colors, we're going to have to mix. So I'm going to do my blue violet here. And I'll mix it with blue so I know this is going to be blue violet. Nice. And then how about, to balance it, blue violet here. And of course you're going to be going straight through. Without, you know, you're going to have these overlaps, but you don't have to deal with that right now in the thumbnail. We're just dealing with where we want these colors to go. Blue, violet, blue, violet. I'm going to do one more right here, blue, violet. The reason I'm using 2 pencils is I don't really have a blue, violet, so I'm mixing them together. Blue, violet, blue, violet, blue. Okay, so now I have this blue, violet, blue, violet, blue, violet. I've got this gorgeous kind of movement now happening. And then I have, and you can fill it darker if you're getting lost. This is going to be all transparent and saturated, but this is just to see purple, purple, purple. Because you know when they overlap, it's going to appear like a different color because they're going to relate to one another anyway, but purple, 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 blue, violet, blue, violet, blue, violet. This is to give you a plan. This is what this is all about. So now I need to go to red violet, which is the last of the cool. Once you get past red violet, you're into the warms. We don't want that. Now, since this is red violet, this is an opportunity to do my follow through. I can use this to do this big object, or I can do this big object, and that's going to affect the movement. I can do this. I'm going to use it for this big one. So this is going to be the one that I have from the right that's moving over into the left. We want to integrate these two, but not completely, just in the center area. We're not like dragging this all the way over there. But this is going to be my red violet, and it's going to take up all of this. And then I can decide if this one's going to be on this side or in this family. So it's really an interesting process to do this thumbnail because you're deciding on a lot of things. Now I got to decide how to balance this. And over here, I cannot use something from over here because it's only in the center area that we're going to choose the overlap of the two sides. So I got to put it here. So now, because you have it more than once, it works in terms of design. I don't want to put it here because it would be too close to this, it'd be the same. Also, there's somewhere here that I need to bring this over. So we have a few options there. I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm thinking maybe one of these in here, but set it aside because you have your 3. Now we got to go to the other side. And the other side is going to be the warm side. This is red violet. It's not red, even though it looks a little bit like it. So what you're going to do is label these. Red violet. This is violet, violet, not the overlap part, but just the main shapes. Blue violet, blue violet, blue violet. And then you have this, and then you have your red violet there. So now we know what's over there. Over here, I'm going to do orange, yellow orange, and yellow. I have no yellow orange pencil, so I'm going to mix them. But how about I do the yellow in the big one? That's kind of cool right there. We're having to balance warm and cool, and we're going to get some very interesting colors that you wouldn't expect. But right now, all we have to do is worry about where we're going to put the 3 related analogous hues on, which ones are going to move over. At least one will, depending on your design, and then one of these moves over. Now that I have my yellow, where else am I going to put it? How about I put it here, because I got to balance, and how about I put it here? Now I have 3. 3 is a magic number in design, as I've said many times. 1, 2, 3. Done with yellow. Now where am I going to put orange? How about orange move in here? Perfect. Perfect. Now I'm going to get this super cool overlap with the glazing with red, violet, and orange and yellow. And then how about, let's see, how about here? How about just kind of visually, intuitively pick your hues, and we'll talk about balance and things once we look at them online. All right, I need to put my yellow orange somewhere. I'm going to put it here. Trying to make it a little bit darker so you can see this is my yellow orange. It's not my orange, but it's yellow orange. I actually did end up having to go darker just so you can see because my colors are not all the way. So I'm just going to make my yellow darker. You can do this with markers, you can do this digitally if you can figure out how to scan your design. And then if you just kind of redefine, this is orange, this is yellow, this is yellow, orange, this is orange, this is yellow, this is yellow. I need somewhere else for orange. And this is perfect because I need the balance right here. And I'll put it here. And then we have one last opportunity for integration of the two sides. We have this coming in from here. We have this coming in from here. We have this coming in from here. So I need one more coming in from here. And I'm thinking maybe not repeat the red violet. I'm thinking purple. Plain old purple because it's in the corner here. What if I do this purple and then I'll get this fabulous neutral, which is going to be where the purple and yellow overlap. But we don't have to worry about what hues we're going to get in these right now. Right now we're looking at the overall balance, and this is a way for all of us to take a look and make sure you're using 3 analogous here. So you can even write on here cool, analogous, and identify red violet, violet, and blue violet, and then label where they are. This is going to be warm analogous, and this is going to be your orange, and yellow. Then the areas that overlap are going to be this one come through, this one come through, this one, and this one. You want the center to be where some of them move together. Oh, this one's missing over here. No wonder it looked weird. This could be yellow-orange. So this is kind of a fun little exercise, and it's a way for you to plan project number 2 completely in terms of the color systems, how the design's going to translate from here, the big one, to here. And once this is approved and makes sense and everything like that, plus you know you're going to be able to control saturation. So that's really going to be something. So this is now the template you're going to hold next to your design when you fill it in. And kind of cool that way too. Anyway, you want to leave the background white. So that's it. And I'm going to start painting. And then I'm going to show you this compared to the filled in portion and the glazing. Remember, when you do your glazing, nothing can touch. So I have to decide what I'm going to paint first and let it sit overnight before I do the ones on top. Nothing that's touching can be filled in, and every shape has to be filled fully. Don't stop at the edge. Like if I started with this orange, I'd fill the whole circle, I'd fill this whole egg, I'd fill this whole thing, wait overnight, come back, fill this whole thing. Because we've gone over what glazing is, and basically you're painting through, not stopping at. And I'll show you as I start doing the big one. Bye.